Hello and welcome to the Hydrostat video channel. The subject of today's video is energy management for churches. We accept, of course, that a church is a group of people, not the building they meet in, but the buildings are important in terms of the purposes they serve and how much they cost to run. This video aims to give you some general direction about how to manage the cost of energy in your church buildings. The basic principles apply equally to community halls, scout huts, vicarages, manses, and of course, churches themselves. You're already watching this video, so you probably have a good reason to think about energy management in your church. But it's worth remembering that there is more than one reason why it's a good idea. First of all, we want our churches to be comfortable and welcoming to our regular congregation and to visitors. A warm handshake is all very well, but if the church is so cold that people have to keep their earmuffs on throughout the service, then it might make it more difficult to hear the good news. Secondly, the church has a responsibility to reduce carbon emissions. Global climate change has become one of the biggest causes of poverty and suffering around the world, and it's fair to say most churches are against poverty and suffering. Thirdly, no one likes wasting money. What's the point of taking a collection each week if it all ends up being wasted on heating bills? The first step to managing your energy use is measuring your energy use. Sometimes you can find out how much energy you're using by looking at your old electricity and gas bills. But beware, sometimes bills are based on estimated readings, especially when the meter is difficult to access. You can avoid this by taking regular readings carefully yourself. You could also consider fitting a smart meter, which records consumption at least every 30 minutes. It might not be as expensive as you think. If you use heating oil or other fuel, then you may have to find creative ways to monitor your consumption. The second question to ask is whether or not you're paying the right price for your energy. Would you be better off on an evening weekend tariff? How long have you been with your current supplier? The Hydrostat Energy Switch website is an easy and impartial tool for comparing prices. When you know how much energy you're using and how much it costs, you'll be in a good position to start controlling it. First, check the thermostats. People often like to tamper. Ideally, you shouldn't try to heat above 21 degrees, and in many old stone buildings, it's very difficult to achieve higher temperatures. 100 years ago, before air-conditioned offices and centrally heated homes, people would have been much more tolerant of variances in temperature. You should also check the timer programs regularly to ensure they reflect the church's heating requirements and activities at each time of year. Next, you should consider investing in energy efficiency measures. This might mean you have to bite the bullet and replace those ancient boilers, but there might be cheaper ways to make a difference. Pipework insulation, loft insulation, and energy-efficient lighting can all have excellent paybacks in the right circumstances. If your budgets are tight, you could consider approaching local charities or councils for a grant or loan. Many will be sympathetic, especially if your buildings offer facilities for the wider community. While you're thinking about your energy costs, don't forget your other utilities. Water bills have a sneaky way of creeping up when you're not expecting. Phone and broadband services can also yield savings. As Christians, we have a responsibility to act as stewards of the gifts God has given us. Energy management is not the most exciting part of the kingdom, but it shouldn't be ignored. For more information and more detail, why not get in touch with us here at Hydrostat? We'll be happy to help.